Okay, buddy, we're going to be talking a little bit about what you're going to be doing for your next assignment, where you're going to be creating a scene sketch. So, in the corner of the room, you've got the Anna Garcia scene where she was found. Your job is to complete a basic sketch of the scene, including all of the evidence found within it. Very important to use an appropriate search method, like we talked about last time. So, think about how you decided on a search method and which one would be appropriate. Make sure you're using that to make sure that you include everything and you don't miss anything. What's very important for this is doing proper measurements. So you guys have all used rulers and tape measures and that sort of thing in the past. Make sure that you're using those properly. One thing that can be kind of tricky when you're doing this is trying to figure out where exactly something can be if it's kind of on an angle, right? Sometimes the things that are in a scene don't always line up really well. So make sure you have a strategy for doing that, right? Maybe you need to measure both from one side of the scene and from another side. Maybe you need to take two measurements to figure out exactly where the body's fingertips are, or where the toes are, or where this particular corner of something is. You might have to take multiple measurements to really pinpoint where something is. And you might want to have a friend or a partner check your measurements and see if your work is right as well. Now, in real forensic labs, they don't just do this. They don't only just go in there with measuring equipment and sketch things. Real forensic labs will also take photographs in addition to doing sketches. Hey, buddy, what's up? And so they'll also take photographs. And when they do that, it's really important that they include a ruler in those as well. Some labs even use laser scanning. That's what this image is on the screen right now. Here is an investigator who's actually using a really cool, fancy equipment that actually uses lasers to scan the entire room to note where different things are. It's pretty cool technology. We're going to be doing things the traditional old tried and true method. So you're going to be using rulers, you're going to be using meter sticks, tape measures that are all available for you to measure that. Now, one thing to keep in mind, when you're in there measuring, please try to keep to a maximum of 2 students inside the scene, right, beyond the police caution tape at a time, just so things don't get crowded in there. The more people that are in there, the more crowded it is, the more likely somebody's going to step on something or kick something and mess up the scene. So 2 people at a time, get in, take your measurements, pop back out, add some things onto your sketch, write down your measurements, whatever you need to do, and then wait your turn and get back in there at some point. All right, so here's an example of a scene sketch from a mysterious death scene or a murder scene or crime scene, etc. This is not the Anna Garcia scene, so make sure that you're aware of that. Also, in my PLTW, there's another example sketch that is also not the Anna Garcia scene. So if you're thinking, I'm just going to copy that, that's definitely not going to work, all right? But just a few things that I want to point out here and kind of use this example to talk about it some. So first of all, draw everything. Draw everything that you see. I'm kind of in the way here. Let me pull myself down here. Draw everything that you see. And so that's where that search methods that we talked about last time is really important. Make sure you're being detailed. The more detail you include in your sketches, the higher score is going to be on the assignment. I do include how detailed your sketch is as part of that assessment. And you can see all that on the rubric on Canvas. And I've got rubrics up at the desk too. Then you have accuracy, right? Is everything in the right place? Is everything about the right size? Is everything turned the right way? Do you have the angle that the body is laying on correct? So just make sure you're being diligent. Do your best to be as detailed and accurate as you can in your sketch. Make sure that you're including a scale. So for example, in this one, 1 centimeter, right? 1 centimeter on the sheet here is equal to 1 foot in real life. Your PLTW lab journal has graph paper, grid paper. So what you can do is you can say, 1 box equals 5 centimeters, or 1 box equals, 6 inches or something, whatever you think is appropriate. Now, it's really important to make sure you have an appropriate scale. So look at your page in your lab journal, figure out, okay, how many boxes across do I have? How many boxes up and down do I have? How much space do I have to work with? And use that to decide what your scale is going to be after measuring the overall size of the scene in the corner of the room. So figure out, okay, how wide is the scene in real life? Is it 8 feet wide? Is it 11 feet wide? How big is it? Or if you're doing metric, I think some of the tape measures are only in imperial, so you probably want to do feet, not centimeters. But you can do metric if you want. Usually we do metric in science, but some of the tape measures for some reason are only in imperial, so you're maybe gonna have to use feet and inches and that kind of thing. But decide on that scale before you draw anything. Figure out, okay, what kind of scale do I want? Make sure you include that on the page. So like it says right here, scale is 1 centimeter equals 1 foot. Make sure you've written that on your scene. Also, then you're going to need to include a key. After you've drawn everything, you're going to include numbers, just like you see here. You're going to write little numbers on your sketch for every piece of evidence you have, including the body. I actually recommend making the body evidence item number 1. I usually do. And this one, it's number 7. So I think what they did is it kind of went around the room like this, right? However you want to do it, doesn't really matter what order you put things in on your sketch. Just make sure that everything that should be numbered is numbered. Make sure you're including everything. And then there's also, in addition to the key, where you're going to have your list of items that are in the sketch, you're also going to have your legend. And your legend includes the date. For us, that's going to be the first day of school. For some of you, that was Wednesday. For some of you, that was Thursday. It's also going to have the time. That information is found in my PLTW. When did the investigators arrive at the scene? Not when did Taylor find Anna's body, not when did you call the police, but when did the crime scene investigators arrive and start documenting the crime scene? That's the time you're going to write down. So make sure you write that down. The location, right? What building are we in? And the temperature. Just tell you, temperature, it's room temperature. It's about 21 degrees Celsius. Make sure you're drawing neatly and be thorough. When you are complete with this, when you're done with it, first of all, what I'd recommend, have somebody else look at it first before you bring it up to me. Have somebody else look at it, see if you did a good job, get any feedback from a friend, classmate. And then before you bring it up to me and show me, for me to grade it, get on Canvas and check out the rubric. The rubric is available on Canvas. You can see exactly how I'm going to be grading it. So check that first. Maybe do a little self-assessment. Do you think you're going to get a good grade on it or not based on that rubric? And then come up, bring your lab journal to me. I will go over it with you. I'll grade it right there in front of you, give you immediate feedback. And if you do well enough on it, you can move on. If you don't get at least like a 90%, then I'm going to ask you to make some corrections, make some changes, and show it to me again. Let me know if you have any questions.